Ooh, apparently I'm live. Okay. Wow, the quality of my camera looks so bad. Oops. Hello everybody. Let's see if we can get that. Here we go. Okay. Oh, sorry. I was in just like, how is this working? Do I remember how the technology works? Now I can be more, let's actually do this ding dang thing mode. So here we go. We are going to try to do my first tier list of 2026, which of course is looking back at 2025, going over the list of games that I played. So, a couple things before I get going into the list is number one, for the most part, I am probably just going to do full spoilers for all of these games. There might be a few points where I'm a little vague, but for the most part, I will probably just go full spoilers. Number two, um, Play Obscure. I'm always going to try to say with that bad French accent, but that is not included on the list. Although I technically did start it in 2025, I started it pretty late in December, where I got a couple sessions in, but I didn't get super far in the game, so there's really not a whole lot I could say about it. I am currently playing it. I am loving it. I just got to Act 2 last night, and I'm at, oh, what is it called? Like Monoko's, was it Monoko's Sanctuary? Monoko's, I think it was something that started with an S. Anyway, like his lookout, which doesn't start with an S. Anyways, that's where I'm at. Like I'm about to go get Monoko. And probably when I'm done with this tier list, I am going to go play more of that game because it's really, really good. Also, want to go ahead and give a brief explanation of my tiers. If you're familiar with the channel, or I guess if you're familiar with bees, you probably know what some of these mean, although a couple of these are new to this year. One of them will probably only be for this video. But let's get at it. Double S, this just means this is my favorite. This is what I'm going to give the crown to. I might give a couple things the crown depending on how we go. It just is what it is. It's all based on vibes. S tier means this is a contender. This is a contender for being my favorite thing that I played this year. A tier means it's really, really good. It is something that I loved. B means I like it, but I feel like I respect it more than I like it. C means it's fine. There's things I like about it, things I dislike about it, but overall I'm kind of neutral. And D means I find it to be pretty disappointing, mediocre, and honestly, like I don't have an F tier this year because I don't think there's anything I played that I hated or below that. There's tiers below that, but in terms of like an F tier or bottom of the fucking barrel, I honestly don't think there's anything I would put in D tier. But if we get rid of it, we get rid of it. Now here's the other tiers. Here's the more kind of weird ones, wild cards. Some of these you might recognize because they've been in other years or I've mentioned them. So the Dio tier is specifically for anything I stopped playing, but it's something I intended to get back to later and I just never did because, with the world, time stops, but eventually time will keep going or time will resume ticking. Will Smith is the completely new one. So this is specific. This is really dumb, but it made me laugh. So it's still making me laugh. This is for any game that was basically just a party game and not something I played seriously. Even if I've kind of played it multiple times, this was like, yeah, I'm just kind of play it when I'm hanging out with my friend because Will Smith has a song called Party Starter. That's really all that is. And of course, this is something I have every year. The Snoop Dogg tier, which is at the bottom. And as I say every time, that has nothing to do with Snoop. That is not at all indicative of my opinion of Snoop's music. I think I do have him on my list of artists that I actually want to listen to other albums this year. So maybe at the end I will actually be like, I don't like Snoop as like I don't like his music. But it is specifically a reference to Drop It Like It's Hot, because this is something that I dropped, and unlike in the Dio tier, this is something I'm like, I don't think I'm going to pick this back up again. I'm done. So, with all of that being said, let's get into the list proper. So, I'm going to start with kind of a quick slew of games. And I guess something else I should probably explain is that number one, when I do these, I kind of try to put everything at when I'm talking about something, I generally put it in around the C tier, so it's kind of in the middle of the screen, and then it's gonna go wherever it goes. And also, for the most part, like when I save these thumbnails, I try to save them alphabetically. Well, okay, like I'll put game, comma, and then whatever the name of the game is. So I assume they get uploaded alphabetically, but that doesn't happen. Like somehow Trails is before Stellar Blade, and those are both before Pokemon, which is before Donkey Kong. Like that, I don't know why it does that. Mm. So these aren't going to be quite alphabetical, but that's the intent. But essentially, we are starting with the games that are going to the Will Smith tier. I'm just kind of lump them together, talk about each game relatively quick, then put them in that tier, and then move on. So here we go. We have Pac-Man versus. It's a game where you can play as Pac-Man versus the ghosts, or you're playing as the ghost and you're trying to beat Pac-Man. I think I played two, maybe three rounds of the no, because that's right, because each round is like several individual games, if I remember correctly. No, wait, how does it go? Okay, sorry, because this was a night where we were playing this, and then we were also playing Kirby Air Ride, and Kirby Air Ride was the more memorable and fun experience for me, if I'm being completely honest. I think it was you play one game, but it's like if a ghost gets Pac-Man, then like they become. It's a whole system that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let me drink some water. That might help my brain operate. I don't know. Also, I was kind of thirsty. Starting over with that. You play a game of Pac-Man. Someone is Pac-Man. The other people are the ghosts. The ghosts are working together to get Pac-Man, but also you want to become Pac-Man so you can get more points. And it's first person to, I don't remember how many points, wins. It is easiest to do that as Pac-Man. So you want to become him so you can do all this stuff. I think I got to play Pac-Man once, did not get to stay as him for very long because I'm very bad at Pac-Man. Both that playing as him and playing as the ghosts, it's just not something I'm very good at. Spoiler alert, I was kind of bad at all of these party games this year, if I'm to be completely honest. But for me, this was an experience that was this game is very long and is something that I'm really bad at, and it's just not clicking with me, which is making this feel even longer and less fun. So personally, I didn't have a great time with it, but it was just like a party game I played with the boys. Like it's going in the excuse me, not the Snoop Dogg, the Will Smith tier along with the others. Not much else to say. Kirby Air Ride, I thought this was really fun. I'm really, really bad at racing games. So this essentially being here is a very simplified, like for dummies racing game that's flavored, yeah, that's in the flavor of one of my favorite Nintendo series, is something I really appreciated. And yeah, I think City Trial is really cool and really fun. I appreciate that it's not just a straight race, that there are other modes, other things that can happen. So someone like me who even in a game that's like here's an easy version of a racing game is still really bad at racing games. There are other things in here that I can enjoy, like other modes, other kinds of competition, I guess. And again, I really like the Kirby flavor. With Air Riders, basically just being that on crack. It's like here's a bunch of other modes, here's a bunch of other playable characters, bunch of other carts. It is it's like the everyone is here, but just for Kirby. And like I said, as a big Kirby fan, I really appreciate it. I'm not good at it, and the last time I picked it up, I was like, I just um I won't lie, I wasn't particularly having fun, but I would say I've probably really enjoyed my time with this game like 90% of the time that I played it. But alas, like they still both go into the party tier, but I will say and that's another thing. I don't tend to organize my tiers. Like everything in this tier is just gonna be there in the order I put them in. I guess if I wanted to organize, maybe I will this year. I'd put that in front of that, that in front of that. And then Mario Kart World, again, this is like just kind of a party game for me. I didn't play it a whole lot. I have it free with my Switch, which I mean, I think I had to pay a little extra for that copy for like for that Switch too, so I guess it wasn't free, but slightly discounted. It's okay. Like I said, I'm not great at racing games. I'm not really a racing game guy. I had fun with it the little bit that I played, but I only played a little bit because it's not the kind of game I'm going to play on my own. And just from what I've seen and what I have personally played, it feels kind of bare bones and kind of empty, especially when you look at something like Air Riders that just has so much game. Like the fact that Sakurai had two directs, each one was like 40 minutes to an hour of just, okay, let me talk about this. Let me talk about some of the characters that are here. Let me talk about some of the carts that are here. Let me talk about some of the different modes. Regular air ride, city trial. Hey, you guys remember Top Ride? Remember how was the mode in the first game that nobody played? Well, for the 10 people that liked it, I made sure it's in the game so you can't be mad at me for not including it. And then World, I don't know, like there's an open world aspect, and everything I've heard about it was just, yeah, it kind of sucks and no one really liked it. But I mean, I think I had more fun with this than I did with Pac-Man, so there's that. And the last party game for me is Lego Party. If you've played it, I guess like if you played it, you probably know what I'm more or less gonna say. If you haven't played it, it's essentially Mario Party, but it's Lego flavored. But there are some differences, and there's one difference that I really like, which is you play a mini game at the start of every round rather than at the end because how like yeah, your placement in the mini game determines the turn order of the next round. You win the mini game, you now get to go first. You got fourth in the mini game, you go fourth in the turn order. I really like that because I like the turn order as something that is constantly in flux and in chaos. And essentially, it is up to you to earn how quickly you get to go. It's like, oh shit, I really want to get that golden bricks instead of stars. I have to like lock into this game to make sure this other guy doesn't get it. That's something I really like. To a degree, some of the chaos is in the player's control. Unfortunately, it's a game where I'm like, I like some of these mini games. A lot of them I just don't. Like I either don't find it that fun or I think the actual like control of it is kind of weird. I would say it's like there's a decent amount where I'm like, that was a fun mini game. That one was pretty fun. But for the most part, I just didn't super get into it. So whenever I'm hanging out with my friends, they're like, yeah, let's play a game of Lego Party. I'm like, I'm not gonna fight you guys on this. Do we have to? But I don't know. Like it's fun enough. So I mean, I would definitely put it above these two. Would I put it above Air? I feel like I've played it more than base Air Ride. So there's that. I don't know. I think I like it to Air Ride a little bit more. So there we go. Those are basically the party games I played this year. Okay. So now we get into stuff I can probably talk about for a bit longer, for better or for worse. Guilty Gear Strive. So I'll be honest, this is not a game I have played a whole lot of, but I have enjoyed what I played. I haven't played a whole lot of Guilty Gear in general. I have Xrd. I've which version of it do I have? I think I have like Revelator 2, and I've put a tiny bit of time into it, but not a whole lot. I played a bit of Strive. I think I got a couple of the season passes. I don't remember if it was after Evo, but it was probably after Evo. Because when the game first came out, I thought it looked really cool. Like I said, like I'm familiar with Guilty Gear even if I haven't played it. But the character I remember playing for a bit in Xrd was Elfelt. And I had said, once Elfelt comes out, I will probably get the game. I will be a lot more like excited to play it. And sure enough, when she did, like I got the game and I specifically just bought her, but didn't buy the rest of like of her season. but I didn't actually get around to like playing the game until this year. And like I said, I played it for a bit, mostly just single player stuff or playing with my friends. Like it not quite to like a party game degree, but played it a few times and just never got around to it again. But I wanted to and intended to. I just didn't. So I think it's probably more of a Dio tier for me, but I liked it. And like I said, I would like to pick it back up again at the at some point. Elisa. So what happened with this game? I think Clay and I were looking at the PlayStation store, and I don't remember if it was like we were looking at a specific game and this was recommended, or if it was that we were looking at a sale and we saw this, we just kind of looked at it. But the game had this look and like number one, it had this vibe of old school PS1 survival horror, like a Resident Evil kind of game, which is something that Clay is very into. It might have actually been after we played Pro Country is when we heard about it. But it's something that Clay is very into. And it had this look and vibe, and like I believe the dress. I can kind of see it a bit on the thumbnail. It has the like blue and white Alice look, and a lot of the monsters are like these like clockwork dolls, which I think are just really cool and kind of inherently creepy to me. So I was like, yeah, this seems pretty neat. And again, it's one of like we played it for a few sessions and we kind of liked it, but we just never got around to booting it back up again. We talked about it a couple times, and there's still sort of that interest to do it, but it's just never panned out. So I would also kind of put it in this tier of we'll get to it eventually. And okay, there's another game on this list that also fits in that tier. Let me find Torna. I think this should be the last thing. No, there's another game that's kind of DO tier, but I think we'll get into Snoop Dogg. We'll get to it when we get to it. But let me go and talk about Torna real quick. So last year, Clay played Xenoblade 2, and I was super excited because I absolutely love Xenoblade 2. It has problems. It's a game where I remember really liking the story, but can also acknowledge there's parts of the story that don't quite work as intended, but I get what they're going for. So I'm gonna cut them some slack, kind of fill in the blanks a little bit myself. And like this works enough and I'll let it slide. I think like the reveal of Nia and all of her backstory is kind of one of those where I was a lot more forgiving of it because I could see what they were doing and I liked it. And Clay was like, dude, this just does not work. A lot of these reveals don't work. I don't like a lot of the cat. Like he hated playing XC2, but he has Torna, and I don't remember if he got them as like a 2-in-1 bundle or if he had also gotten Torna to give it a shot. But I really wanted to play it because I've been wanting to play Torna for years. And I got a few hours in, and I was having a really good time. I thought the battle system was really fun. It was essentially like, here's more or less how Xenoblade 2 works, but now you can like switch between playing as was it the driver or playing as the blade separately. And that's just really fun and really cool. And it makes the battle system feel more dynamic. And it's one of those I'm like, why didn't we do that in the base game? It's like, oh man, this is this like ancient way of fighting that has been lost to time, and it's literally just like, hey, use my sword. Cool. Like it, I don't know, this just feels really simple. Like, why can't we do this? Okay. Anyways, um, I was really getting into it. I don't remember a lot of what was going on in the story because I don't think it had started getting crazy yet. But alas, I ended up going on my business trip and I was there for like a month and a half. And then by the time I came back, a lot of that just like excitement and being in the zone for playing Torna was gone. And I ended up picking up something else. I don't remember exactly what it was at the time. Actually, I think it was Celeste, 'cause I was like, "Dude, after that trip, I kinda just need to play Celeste." And I unfortunately never got back around to it. I would love to get back into Torna. I might do it at some point this year. So again, it was something that just kinda got time stopped. No, not D tier, DO tier. Okay, Pro Country. Let me get another drink of water. Oh, there's orange. Yeah, that's the bottom of the list. Okay, so I will try to keep this one relatively short because I know I did make a video about this game, my experience, and kind of how it resonated with me. I absolutely loved Crow Country. It was something where it was like Clay and I, or it was a Sunday, I think. Clay and I were just hanging out. I think we were kind of looking for something to play. And then Jose comes in and he's like, okay, let me talk to you guys about this game. This is something that I played recently. I kind of can't stop thinking about it. I can't recommend it enough. So Clay and I looked it up, saw it on the PlayStation Store, like, all right, let's buy it, let's play it. And we basically just spent the rest of the day playing. I think we played for several hours, took a break to eat some curry, and it was really, really good curry. And like, all right, we had our dinner break. Let's go back and finish this game. I want to say we 100%ed it, but I'm not sure if we did because I believe we got every secret. We fought every optional boss, beat the main story. Did we platinum it? I don't think we platinumed it because I think there were a couple things like, all right, one of the platinums like beat the game, like speed run, beat the game like 2 hours or something, which we definitely didn't do on a first playthrough. And there might have been a couple other trophies we didn't get, but the vast majority of the game we did. Um, really, really liked it. Something I have said several times is that I don't like Metroidvanias because I really don't like backtracking. At least in the way that I feel like tends to happen in a Metroidvania, where it's a combination of I am lost and have no idea which way I'm supposed to go. And I really don't like that feeling of exploring, hitting a roadblock, and like, okay, I guess I'll have to come back here later and hopefully remember this exact spot on the map. Backtrack to where I was before, try to find a place to go, do that for a while, then hit another wall, and like all that kind of crap. Which is what I remember happening a lot when I played Hollow Knight. And Hollow Knight was a game that I liked. It's something I respect a lot. But I think because the map in general is so big, it was very easy for me to go, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And there's a non-zero amount of times where I pick a direction, I go in that direction, and I think I'm making progress just to realize, oh, I don't have the thing I need here either. Pro Country being a much smaller map alleviated a lot of that frustration, where it was less of like, I have no idea where to go and I'm backtracking everywhere, and made it feel like more of an escape room or like a puzzle box. Like, cool. Now that, like, okay, here's something you can't do, here's something you can't do. So, process of elimination, you can go here. Okay, we got a thing. I remember over here, they kind of mentioned this thing. So, let's take it over here. Cool, we got progress. Now we can go. And it just, for me, flowed really well. So I enjoyed the like gameplay loop a lot. I thought the story was interesting. I liked a lot of the directions that it went. Some of them I could definitely see coming, such as like our the like identity of our protagonist. Some of which like her final conversation with Crow, which I guess like her only conversation with Crow, did not go the way I expected. And I really liked that. And kind of my impression of it as well is it's not what she was expecting either. And I thought that was really cool. I remember there's a point during the final boss where Like, after you do the last hit, there's a point where, like, there's some dialogue exchanged, and then you're kinda supposed to do the final attack. However, after I beat the boss, like, as a celebration, I just, like, tossed a grenade, like, into the pit. It's just like a, "Yeah, I beat the game!" And because of that, it counted as that last hit on the boss, so we can actually see that last bit of dialogue. I had to look it up afterwards because I think Jose told us, he's like, "No, actually, like, there's kinda something you missed." And I was like, "Oh, no, yeah, that felt kind of important, my he Jose also told us, like, "Hey, this is the only time you can look at the piece of paper, so you should probably do it now." Because I would've just done it after the fight. And yeah, it was something that stuck with me for a while. Just kind of that, like, ruminating on just, like, morality, like, how selfish a person can be when they have knowledge that can help other people, and at what point is it a I'm just gonna do what I can do for me. How much of it is I don't really believe what I'm hearing, or it's I've kind of come too far to stop, so I might as well do what I like. If the damage is done, I might as well get mine. It was something I just found really interesting. I absolutely loved this game, and I'm gonna be honest, I think this is one of my favorite games I played this year. So, Resident Evil 3. Because I wanted to talk about I moved this one up a bit because I wanted to talk about it after Crow Country, because Crow Country had, like I said, at least I think I did, a very PS1 Resident I think I said it with Elisa, but Crow Country has it as well, that retro PS1 vibe. And the Resident Evil 3 make is, well, we modernized one of those kinds of games. I mean, I have not played the original Resident Evil 3. I have not played a lot of Resident Evil in general. I think personally I have played 7, original 4, like, I played on the PS4, but I didn't play the remake. So 7, 4, and the 3 make. I had a really good time with it. I've heard a lot of the criticism toward this game is that they cut a lot of content out of the original game, or I know it's that, and I think as a result, the game is significantly shorter. But as someone who never played the original, I can't vouch for any of that. I can't be like, "Man, I could feel the portions that were cut. It was really frustrating because I liked those portions," or, "Man, it made the game feel so much shorter." I just thought, "No, like, I kinda like the pace of this game." It feels very frantic. It feels like, for the most part, I mean, there are some parts where it just kinda stops so you can do what you gotta do, but a lot of it does feel like I am just going from one thing to another, out of the frying pan into the fire, because this thing is on my ass. I think a lot of the fights with Nemesis were really fun. The one in the clock tower area in particular, I loved. I had so much fun because I was loaded with so much stuff. I was like, "Are you ready? Like, are you ready for me, dude? Because I'm ready for you." There was this one area. It was what was it? It was like these sewers where there was these, how did I describe them? I don't remember what I said. It was something, was like, it's like the cross between like a tadpole and a frog and like Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. These just demon tadpoles with these giant mouths. And the first time I saw one, I was just like, "Nope, nope, hate this, hate all of this, fuck this." I want to play the game it was like literally kill it with fire, because I think I had the grenade launcher. I was like, "Yeah, you guys are done. I don't want to deal with this anymore." There was that, and the bugs, because I don't like bugs. I don't like spiders. I don't like insects. Any of that shit. So that one area where you're just fighting the giant bugs is hated it, absolutely hated it, loved it. It was great. It was spooky as hell. It was for me is like this is stuff I don't like. This is very intense. I had a really good time with it. I don't think I liked it as much as Crow Country though. So I think I would have to put the Resi 3 make an A tier. Who's next? Oh boy. Digimon Survive is a game that had been on my list for a very long time. I don't remember when the game was first announced, but I remember it was at an E3, and I went, okay, I am interested. I am excited. Like a survival horror Digimon game, that sounds really cool. Because, yeah, Digimon are fucking scary. Like, just like okay, you look at Agumon. Agumon is not a scary thing, but the idea of yeah, this fire-breathing dinosaur with sharp claws, like it's scary in the way that a Pokemon is scary when you read the dex entries, you know. And the idea of an isekai where instead of it being like, yeah, you know, you're here in this other world, and I know you want to get out, but we got this, we can do this, but characters are losing their minds. They become a lot more distrustful of each other, a lot more violent because of the intensity of the scenario. I'm like, sign me up. And the game kept getting delayed. And then it finally came out. And then I didn't play it for a bit because I just kept hearing it's like, it's fine. It's really maybe not super worth it. Which took me from I can't wait to play this to okay, maybe I can play something else instead. But I finally played it and I had a really good time, but I did have genuine problems. And I think my biggest problem is the fact that my choices didn't feel like they mattered. In the first, I want to say 7, 8 chapters of 12, I think the true route is like 13, but I think it was 12 for the other 3 routes. What was it? It's because you had 3 routes. It was essentially like yeah, dude. Yeah, it's data. No, was it data? Because it's harmony is one. Was rage a route? Wrathful, that was it. It was harmony, wrathful, and moral, which to some degree was kind of a here's your law route, your chaos route, and your neutral route, like in an SMT vibe. I could make choices which would essentially change what happens in the last few chapters, but A, everything before that would basically play out the same regardless of what I did, which made the whole like, survival horror aspect feel less interesting because I didn't really get to impact anything. And also those last few chapters, two of the routes, I'm trying to remember which ones they were. It's the one with Plutomon and the one with oh, I can't remember. Is it was like Boltmon or like Boltbumon? It's the one where Aoi loses her mind, and then the one where Kaito, where he loses his mind. Those two routes just felt like reskins of each other, which for me kind of made them feel a bit less interesting. Kaito's felt more in character. Like even what happens to Miyu made a lot more sense to me than what happened with Saki. Because when the thing is happening to Saki, I'm like, okay, so we could be doing this, 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 this. Like as it was happening, I'm like, there are so many things we could be doing to save this character. Why is no one doing anything? Like, did everyone take their stupid pills off screen? What are we doing? And then with Miyu, I'm like, okay, so this makes perfect sense with like how everyone is characterized. Sucks that this happened. It at least makes sense. And then the other route was the like, okay, so here's just the good ending where significantly less bad things happen to everyone. Um, oh boy, I'm remembering Shuji and Lotmon. There is this moment where Lotmon just like looks at the screen and just goes like, "Why? Why am I the only one who's so despised? And I just wanted to give them the biggest hug. Oh boy, the ending of that chapter is probably the most memorable thing in the game. If you know, you know, but like, oh, that was awesome. It was bad, but it was kind of awesome. I also hated how strict the requirement was to get the true ending because I didn't get it on a new game plus. Because even though I had Ryo's affinity at like 70 because I found a glitch. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I get your mega, like all that stuff. We're gonna be Gucci. I had one other character at 71. And because Ryo, despite being at 70 affinity, was not the highest, I was still locked into one of the three regular routes. And because I'd saved in between like all of the visual novel stuff, I couldn't reload it. And I was like, I really don't want to play the entire game again to do the true route. So I never did. And that was my last impression of the game. And I don't like that because as critical as I am of some of the other aspects, I do like it. I do like the story and I do like the vibe. And I thought like the tactics gameplay was fine, but it was genuinely fun. And I had the vast majority of like I call it my Pokedex, but you know what I mean? Most of my Pokedex was filled out. Like I took time to do all this shit. And by the end, it just felt like, sorry, he wasn't your favorite person, even though you really made him feel appreciated. Just really? Okay. I'm still gonna put the game in A tier because I enjoyed it and I had a really good time with it. But I think I have enough problems that I can't really put it up there. I don't know if I really wanna bother saying which of these 2 I like more because 'cause I'm not really sure. I guess I'd put this because it bothered me less, but I don't know. I might have liked this more in general, but I don't know, that's why I don't generally order in specific tiers. I'm gonna need some water. Never got around to doing a video about Dispatch. And I meant to. I think I had said it a few times. It was like, I just played this game. Gonna do a video now that it's done. Now that I have seen how my choices impacted things, blah, 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 blah. I just never got around to doing it. So here is kind of my short version of some of the choices that I made, or at the very least, like how I tried to play Robert. For me, I played Robert as this is some like Mecha Man is something that he inherited, but it's something that he inherently believes in. Robert wants to help other people. He wants to make the world a better place, but he is also someone who is willing to get his hands dirty to do it. He is someone who is not above a not above a drunken bar brawl and getting his hands bloody if it means protecting someone or protecting himself. There was a moment that really stuck out to me. I don't remember who asked him this question. I want to say it was Chase. I'm like 90% sure it was Chase, but it might have been Royd because I think it was in I think it was in Royd's lab where someone asks Robert, if you get the chance, are you going to kill Stroud? And I remember answering very honestly with, I don't know. It just kind of depends on what happens and how things go. I might do it, I might not. And then in that moment, I think it's in the penultimate episode where Stroud has me captured and like tortured. And I have a moment to say something, and I just said, I'm going to kill you. It was like that was the moment I had made up my mind. And at the end of the game, I presented him with both. I was like, I don't know which one is real, which means you can't read me to figure out which one is real either. I did kill Stroud. Had that moment like I said I was going to do it. You crossed way too many lines. You threatened my dog. Like, look, man, I was probably gonna do this anyways if I had the chance. The moment you threatened my dog, it was over. Personally, I picked Blonde Blazer. It was like this is kind of how I'm leaning toward at the start, and I'm just gonna keep going down this route. I really appreciated the date. Like I haven't seen Vivi's. I didn't do any two timing, but I just really liked the date with Mandy. I thought it was adorable. I thought it was super sweet. What can I say? I like brunettes and blue eyes. Like this just like I feel like I really did pick the right choice for me. But what was I gonna say? I picked Sonar over Coop. And I remember at the time I was like, these are possibly my two favorite members of the team. Why do I have to choose between the two? Um, I picked Phenomenon over Waterboy, and I felt a little bad about it at the time. I was like, feel like I should pick Waterboy and I should give him his chance here, let him really be a hero. I don't know. I feel really, really bad for Phenomenon. And I know I'm not responsible for what happened, even though I kissed Blonde Blazer. Also, I could tell him that. It was one of those moments, it's like, I can tell him that I kissed her while he's grieving about what happened. I'm going to choose to be honest, but I'm kind of terrified. And when he just sits up and looks at Robert and says, "So you're the reason I feel like this." I got a little worried, I can't lie. He's like, "No, dude, like, it's not me, trust me, I'm not that good of a kisser." And then he just grabs Robert. "I no longer believe you're the reason." That cracked me up! It was so funny! Oh, dude, I love Phenomenal, man, like, he might be my favorite character. Because I can't lie, there was that part of me that's like, "Okay, are we doing this? Are we doing the evil Superman? Are we doing the whole, like, Omni-Man kind of vibe again?" Like, he is not Omni-Man, bro is just Starfire. He doesn't know what's going on, but he's trying his best. And the scene where you're with the Z team and everyone's, like, giving their identities, and I don't remember what his name is, so I'm just gonna say Kal-El. He's like, "On my planet, I was named Kal-El, but the ladies at the Nordstrom rack who discovered me called me Dumpy due to my large posterior. You may call me either." I was laughing so hard. And so, like, I just when I'm talking about Phenomenon, 80% of the time, I will just call him Dumpy because but, I did that. I pretty much any time I had a chance to say that, like, I believe in Vizzy, almost always took that option. She stayed a hero. We didn't date, but she stayed a hero. She stayed good. Are there any other major choices? Not that I can think of off the top of my head. That was more or less my playthrough. I loved Chase. I thought Chase was great. The ending of was it episode 4? I wanna say it was episode 4, like, I was absolutely gutted, and then by the ending of episode 6, I was like, "Okay, on the one hand, I hate this because I feel like I don't know, it feels like it cheapens it a little bit. I also kinda don't care, kinda fuck with Star Chaser. all right, I'll take it, I'll take it. Uh, Gosh, the scene with, like, Punch Up approaching Toxic made me laugh really hard. 'Cause the entire ballroom fight is really good. It's like, "Oh, you temporarily blinded me. Fuck you, you need temporary it's you blind forever." I think Prism was my most used hero. I think my most successful hero was Flambe. His karaoke cover of Meredith Brooks's "Bitch" is possibly the funniest thing in the entire game. I even more than Dumpy, I was, like, howling when I got to that part. So I think it was when I started that episode because I played them all with my buddy Wyatt, who had already played an episode before I got to do it, and it was more of, like, what was really neat was I made a lot of different decisions than he did, so he just kinda got to see how things played out, and then, we would kinda talk about that in real time, but also, like, afterwards as well. So, there was a point where he's like, "Are you familiar with Meredith Brooks at all?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I think the answer I gave was something like, you know, like, "I know a song by her," like, something like that. I was like, "Okay. So what does the song 'Bitch' have to do with Dispatch?" And when we got to that bit, I was like, "Okay, that's what it has to do." Comedy gold, absolutely phenomenal and fantastic. Loved it. It was phenomenal. I will also say, I felt a lot better about not picking Waterboy at the end of episode 6 because having seen both scenes, I think pick it like when you try to pick up Phenomenon, when you try to pick up Dumpy after that, it feels a little clunky. Like it works enough, but it's okay. But going up to Waterboy and saying the city is on fire, which makes you the most valuable man in Los Angeles, we need you, really satisfying. And then just the "I'm okay, I'm okay," like, "Fuck yeah, man," or it's like, "Hell yeah, you sound okay as fuck." Also a great line. This is S tier. I love this bad so much. I My understanding is this was written to not have a sequel, but it did so well, they're going to make a sequel. But I feel like there's a lot of kind of open-endedness at the end of the second excuse me, at the end of the final episode. I'm not exactly sure how they're gonna tie that all together. Specifically, it's like, okay, so is Stroud alive or dead? Which I guess if you just say that he's dead or in prison, that doesn't make a big deal. It's mostly just with Vizzy, where these feel like two very different outcomes. How are we gonna tie that together? Unless they do a thing with season 2 where it's almost like Dispatch becomes more of an anthology, where this is I don't know, like, I think this game was in LA, so maybe the next one's like, "Here's Dispatch in Chicago," or something like that. And, like, I don't know, maybe there's one character who's recurring or something. We'll see how it goes, but I absolutely loved it. Kirby! So this is Kirby in the Forgotten Land, but specifically just the DLC and what was it called? Like Star-Crossed World, I think? Because I played it and it was fine. Love Forgotten Land. I think it's absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite Kirby games. I could probably say that no question. This was just, hey, kind of do the game again, but not all the levels. And they're sort of remixed, but like, I don't know, it's fine. And then, okay, so you beat the arena and you beat the true arena, but now here's the DLC arena. And like, it was fine. I did it. I don't feel like I enjoyed it nearly as much as the base game because I just kind of felt like I was playing the base game again, just slightly remixed. Because if I remember correctly, these weren't original levels. And I probably would have liked it more if the levels just like really felt different. I honestly probably would just keep it in C. I almost want to put it in B because I like Kirby. And I remember having a conversation with Wyatt because we played through it together. He's like, This feels not like a, "Hey, we always intended to do DLC and now we're charging separate." This just genuinely feels like, "Hey, we really liked this game we made, and now we went back and kinda made some stuff, and if you wanna play it, here you go, it's a little cheaper." Like, I don't know, like, it didn't feel super manipulative the way that other DLCs do, and I guess I can give it that, but I don't know, I just really like Kirby, and even a more like, this was alright compared to the base game. Yes, I could maybe bump it up to B. Honestly, I think C feels kinda fair, though. I think I'm just gonna keep it here. We'll see what happens otherwise. I don't really know how much is going in B or how much is going in D. I guess we'll go as we go. Um, I'm just gonna put this in S, man. I love Thousand Year Door. So my experience with Mario RPGs. I have not played Mario RPG. The only Mario and Luigi game I have played was Inside Story, and I liked it fine. I think the idea is really fun. I think the game is really funny. I didn't love the combat because I'm just not great at like timing commands and jumping and dodging and parrying. I guess I've gotten better at that because I feel like I can do it relatively competently and yeah, but I just really sucked at it playing Inside Story. But I've played 4 Paper Mario games, including both because this is specifically the remake, not the original Thousand Year Door. I've played both versions of Thousand Year Door, the first Paper Mario and Super Paper Mario. I haven't played Sticker Star, Color Splash, excuse me, Paper Jam, or Origami King. I thought this game ruled. I had so much fun playing it, and to me, it was that perfect combination of, I've played this game before, and you're giving me something that I remember and remember really loving, while also letting me feel like I was experiencing something new because of just some of the changes that were made. Like, I remember in the original game, I hated Twilight Town because it was just backtracking. Like, this is fun. Like, it gives me Viv, and I really like Viv. And it's got Dupless, and he's calling me slick. And I love this goofy guy. But it's just annoying and a hassle to play. And then in the remake, they just made it a lot smoother, and I'm like, "Wait, I think this is actually my favorite chapter of the game." Because you get a really good party member and a really funny antagonist and just a really cool setup, and I like that I have to fight my party at the end of it, like, this is great! Man, the original game kinda messed this up. Alas, like, there's kinda no fixing Boggly Woods, and even then, I don't even think I hated it. It was just it's tedious and kind of annoying, but it's fine. Like Petalburg, I think is a really solid start to the game, and it's fun. And I like Hooktail a lot, and I think Koops is a good arc. Glitzville, I think, does go on a little too long. I think if you condensed it from 20 fights to 15, it would feel a little bit better, but I still really like it. What is it? Is it Key Hall Key or it's Keel Hall Key? It's something like that. Is really cool. It's really fun. I did the pit early, not hook tail early. I am not that good at the game, but I did it after I think I did it after Twilight Town. So I just skipped most of chapter 5, which was just really funny that I could do that. And I think I got Cortez in one turn. I called Yoshi. I wanted to call him Gonzalez Jr., but it didn't fit, so he ended up being Gonzo. And I think Gonzo just like one turned Cortez. I'm like, that's a good boy. That was really easy, but that was kind of fun. And after doing the pit, I feel like I kind of earned that. Oh, chapter 6. That's Poshley Heights. That's the train. It's a lot shorter than I remember. Like, it was really quick. Like, it was okay. I think it's probably still one of my least favorite chapters, but I enjoyed it more the second time around than I did the first. And yeah, that scene of like the shadow sirens, what the 3 shadows. I always kind of call them the shadow sirens. how they can just teleport in and out, but Dupless has to like jump in through a window and then he jumps out through another window. That killed me. It was gold. Um, Chapter 7, like all the stuff with the cannon was made a lot more doable, or excuse me, it was made a lot more convenient. So I could appreciate that chapter a lot more as well. I thought the moon was fine. Chapter 8 was a lot of fun, just a really, really fun, good game throughout. Uh, do I want to order these at all? I really don't think I do. It's just these are some of my favorites of the year. We'll just keep it at that. Astrobot. I went into this game with very, very high expectations. Last year, I just kept hearing people say the game was really fun. My buddy Wyatt, he lent me his copy, let me borrow his copy. I was trying to say let and lent at the same time, and it's coming out weird. He is a really big platformer guy, and he was telling me how good this game was, how fun this game was, and last year won Game of the Year. And the vibe that I kind of remember was that a lot of people were kind of pining for Metaphor and was like, we think Metaphor should have won. But anyone who played Astrobot was like, look, even if I think something else should have won, I'm not sad that this game won because it was really good. Having played it, as having played it and Metaphor, we'll get to that one. I think literally it is literally conveniently at the end of this. Very fitting. I would not have put my vote for Astrobot. And that is no shade toward this game. I think this game, I think the word I could best use to describe it, it's just charming. Like the fact that you have a double jump. Sorry, just that alone. It's like the fact that you have a double jump is great. But I love that the double jump is like he's got these little lasers that come out of his feet. And so it's like you get extra height, but it's almost more for horizontal rather than vertical. And I think that's like pretty unique. But also because they're literal lasers, you can use them as an attack and you use them for puzzle solving. And I think that's really fun and a really cool way to use the double jump. The fact that it is, I believe, was last year the 30th anniversary of the PlayStation? I think it was. If not, it was the year before, and like this game came out a year late. But it's basically meant to be like the PlayStation anniversary game. And so there's a lot of collectible characters who are characters from throughout the PlayStation's history, not just Sony characters, because some of them are third party. But I think that's really cool and really neat. Where I'm like, oh shit, that's Crash, that's Spyro. I know that. Or I'm like, Mr. Mosquito? Like, I've never played that, but I know what that is. How did you get here? Like, I'm just confused. I really enjoyed that aspect of the game. We're like, oh, okay, like here's the Metal Gear Solid one. They added Psycho Mantis? I guess that's not a super deep cut, but just kind of wasn't expecting that. But I like that. That just makes me happy. As someone who has played games on the PlayStation, I think this is a super neat way of celebrating it. And the fight that lives in my head rent free is when you're fighting these three eggs, like these three chicken eggs. And what you're supposed to do is like, all right, you climb a thing, then you use your double jump and you use your laser to melt and crack the top of the egg. And then you use this power up, which is like a vacuum, to slurp the bird. And like, I'm literally killing baby chickens. This game is deranged as hell. And you turns out you're not actually slurping them out. Like you kind of do it enough and you see the bird go flying. You're like, okay, so I'm not actually murdering baby birds. Like that's good, but dude, this game is nuts. It's just like I said, like it has a maybe it's not as good to say it's charming because that's not a super charming thing, but it's so full of personality. I liked this game a lot. Do I wanna put it in S tier, though? That's the thing. Do I feel like this is one of my favorite things I played this year? Actually don't know that I would. I really liked it, I really did. I feel like here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. I feel like I would put it in, like, an A plus, because I would say I would probably put it above these 2, but I don't think I would quite put it here. This feels right, this feels right. Okay. I'm gonna talk about the Joseph Forest games together, and I'm also just gonna put Splitty Fitty down here. I don't even know if that's quite accurate because it kind of is because I'm in the process of playing it because I'm playing it. I'm playing both of these with Wyatt. It takes two, we finish. I like calling Split Fiction Splitty Fitty. Splitty Fitty, we're in the process of, but we started it and I was like, okay, I am enjoying this, but the time I'm spending playing this, I could spend like just playing Stellar Blade. So I'm kinda gonna do that first, and now I'm like, the time playing this, I could spend playing Clair Obscur. So it's kind of in that, like, it's time is stopping for it, but I'm not dropping it because I do think the game is fun, and I think the idea of companies and corporations trying to just steal your ideas in a world with generative AI. And hearing the way that some AI people just kinda talk about it, like, "Oh, yeah, but, like, your intellectual property shouldn't really be yours, like, it's our property, like, it's part of the community and the collective," like, that's not how that works, and that's not how that should work, like, it bothers me. So I really like this game from a thematic standpoint, and playing it has been really fun too. Just haven't gotten super far, we had a dance battle with the Monkey King, which was the most recent thing, and, like, you wanna talk about a game having personality, like, both of these really do as well. But I am enjoying Splitty Fitty, hoping to play more of it later eventually. This game's awesome. I've loved playing It Takes Two. It very much feels like a Rareware game, again, with how creative it is, how dang fun it is. I think the game is very fun to play. I think the set pieces are really entertaining. I like the story. Just oh gosh, the scene with I don't remember what was the name of the elephant. I want to say like Princess Poppy, but that's from Trolls. I don't quite remember, but that scene is hilarious. That scene is brutal, and then just be like, "All right, bring on the tears. Go on, cry, kiddo. Like it's so bad." Um, oh gosh, what were their names now? Because Rose was the child. Oh, I can't remember their names now. Oh, this is bothering me immensely. I think I'm just gonna have to look it up. I don't want to have to look it up. But our 2 main playable characters, like, I didn't like them a lot at the start of the game, and I will admit that by the end, I was still a bit conflicted, but they grew on me a lot, and them actually working together and communicating, that was really good. To me, that's really what this game is all about. It is about communication, that you can't have a good relationship, whether it's a married couple or playing a co-op game, without communicating with your partner. And I love that the gameplay and the story still have that. Sorry, brain was not braining when it came to the words. I like that the gameplay and the story share the same theme and just how that all works. This is also like, would I put it in S? I don't think I would, but I think I would definitely put it in A plus. Okay. So this is kind of a weird one. So Billy Bust Up is a game that is still in its alpha or like Thoughts on Flight Risk? What's Flight Risk? I don't think sorry, I don't think that's something I've played. Here, let me Google that real quick. Is that something I've heard of? Flight Risk. That's a movie? Looks like that's a Mel Gibson movie that came out last year. Was it also a video game? Dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Oh no, that was something that came out on Steam. J- Plays in our traffic controller. Oh, that actually sounds kind of interesting. No, that is not something I have played, so I unfortunately I don't really have any thoughts on it, but that sounds kind of neat actually. I might have to check that out. Thank you for bringing that up. Um, where was I here? Oh yeah, Billy Bust Up. So this is a game that I think it's like alpha or like pre-alpha, but I'm subscribed to the Patreon for. The short version is it is a platformer that is inspired by like Disney musicals. And as someone who likes platformers and as someone who really enjoys Disney musicals, I thought this sounded super neat. So I've played some of the alpha builds. Like there's an NDA when you sign up to the Patreon, so I can't really say much about it. But I will say that I've really enjoyed what I've seen. I think I will only put it in B tier for now, and I feel like that's fair to say for something that's very much still a work in progress. But it's something I do think is genuinely neat. It is something I am still keeping my eye on. I don't know when the full game is going to come out. I would be very excited if it came out this year, but we'll see what happens. I really liked it. Okay, excuse me. Little Goody Two Shoes. This is a game I've been interested in for a while, and I think I first saw it in a Nintendo Direct. I don't remember when. I thought it seemed really cool. I thought it seemed really interesting. I love the art style, like that old school 90s anime aesthetic. Finally playing the game, there's a lot of things that really work, but there are some things that didn't. Like there's a sanity meter that for me personally felt just kind of tacked on unless you're really doing some side content, which I just never really got into. I'm trying to think. I don't think I was crazy about the resource management. I didn't hate it. I just found it personally slightly too stringent. But I think it works in the way that it takes 2 words. Like I said, that is a game that is all about communication, and communicating with the person you're playing with is a major aspect, and there's that segregation of gameplay and story. Very much here as well, because those kind of things, like when you're doing your chores, which aren't super fun, and you have to make sure that you've got enough literal bread to make it through to the next day and not just eating it for health, where sorry, brain stop for a second, let me drink some more water. There are aspects of the gameplay that reinforce the story, and Elise's desire for more than this provincial life. Speaking of Disney musicals, but you really do understand why this person has the life that she has, why she hates this life, why she's so desperate for something more. Because now that you're living it and playing it, yeah, it's not the best and it kind of sucks too. And I really, really like that. Again, I don't know if I would quite put it in S. I don't think I would. I think I would put it higher than B. If I put it here, I put it here. I might kind of put it in A plus. No, yes, I'll put it in A plus. I really enjoyed this. I really liked the vibe of the game, probably a bit more than I think. I think I will put it here. I think that feels a bit more honest just because of how much I thought the gameplay itself was okay, but I really loved the experience of the game, and, like, I can't recommend it enough. Okay, let's just make this quick. It's Celeste. It's gonna go up there. And something I try to do, which I didn't say at the top, is that for these lists, these are specifically games that I played last year. And generally speaking, it is either the first time I am playing it, or I'm kind of reevaluating it, or I'm doing something different with it. So far, everything is something that I had played. I mean, I think I technically played Kirby Air Ride before, but it had been a really long time. This was specifically a remake of something I played before, so those all count. Celeste, I think, has been on the list for like the past 3 or 4 years at this point. But there was some new stuff because I did a lot of the B sides. I didn't do all of them because this shit's really hard. I think I was somewhere in chapter 7 B side where I was like, look, man, played a lot of Celeste. And I'm starting to get to the point where game is just making me mad because this game was not made with cerebral palsy in my shoe disabled motor skills. I did a lot of the B sides. I did a chunk of chapter 9. I got all the way to the what was it? To like the door where you need all the crystal hearts. And then I skipped the door, which took a long time to be able to do, but I skipped the door, and then I was like, "Okay, I have no idea how to do any of this shit, so I think I'm good. Let me do some more of these B-sides." And I also did chapter 8 for the first time. So there's stuff I'd never done before, so it counts for the list, and because it's Celeste, it's like my favorite game ever. Would I say that? It's in my top 3 or 4. Alongside, like, Persona 5, Trails in the Sky, 2nd chapter, and Kingdom Hearts. Those are I think are my 4 favorite games. There's an argument between, like, Kingdom Hearts or Kingdom Hearts 2, but I'd probably say KH1 just because KH2 is the more fun game. KH1, the vibes are just immaculate and always will be. Celeste might still be my favorite game out of all of those because of how much I have played it and replayed it. So I can also say with KH and KH2. How it just personally impacts me. Because, like I said, around Torna was after my trip. Torna, this is where you're supposed to go. Was after my trip, which was really long and on really short notice. I just felt exhausted and drained. And I felt that really early into the trip. And as much as I tried to recharge, I just like couldn't. Like I was like, okay, cool. Well, at least now I get to watch the Super Bowl this week, and I'm really excited to watch a great game between two really good teams, or I guess one really good team and one team that's been really lucky all season. And boy, that was a really boring one-sided game to watch. For people who hate the Chiefs, it was great, but I don't hate the Chiefs. My dad is a Chiefs fan, so I'm like, look, I'm a Saints fan, so I'm not like rooting for the Chiefs, but like, I'm happy when they do well because it makes my dad happy, and to see them just get blown out like that, I'm like, "Oh, I know my dad is not happy watching this, and I'm just upset because I'm not watching a good game." Like, there was a point where I went to Disneyland. I was like, "I really wanna do this. I haven't been to Disneyland since I was, I don't know, 4? Let's go. Wow, this is like, I like this. I think some of these rides are fun, and like the Star Wars land stuff was like really cool, but I am literally here by myself. And the more I'm here and just like standing in line, the more lonely I feel. So I'm not having a great time. It's more like here's a few fun minutes and then a long period where I'm just bored and lonely. So I kinda needed to play some Celeste. I remember I think it was April 1st. It was it was either like the 31st going into the 1st, the 1st going into the 2nd. Having just a really bad time. Like I was back home, but just some stuff in my personal life and my professional life like weren't going great. I just wasn't feeling right. And I was playing Celeste and I was stuck on the B side for chapter 3, like for the hotel, and I was not okay. I remember in my head, I had started drafting a suicide note, and I don't think it was really like, I'm going to write this and follow through, but just kind of more of venting, just where I was at, how frustrated I was. But I remember just like being there. And then I beat that B side. And then I did chapter 8 for the first time. And I loved it. Like it was like it might actually be my favorite part of the game now. And when I got to just that last portion, like after beating it and it's just like Madeline like falling through that area and like that bit of her just like holding the crystal heart, I just felt like healed. And that's why I love Celeste so much. Like it's a game that I think is very fun to play, as hard as it is, as frustratingly difficult as it is. I think it's fun. I think the music is fantastic. And I really like the story and I really like the characters. But it's a game that heals me when I need it. And that's why I find myself playing it like once a year and why it always ranks so highly. So there's that. Let's talk about Silent Hill for a bit. Might as well talk about these back to back. So Silent Hill Shattered Memories is the less remake and more reimagining of Silent Hill 1, which I've still never played. I know, like, I got Clay a copy of it a few years ago, so I technically have no excuse not to. Like, I have access to Silent Hill 1. I guess now I actually have access to, like, all 4 plus the Silent Hill 2 remake. But really wanted this is the version I really wanted to play because that idea of the game psychoanalyzing you. Like, okay, what kind of stuff are you like? What stuff do you say at the start of the game? What is the stuff that you look at? What do you focus on? How are you playing the game? And seeing how that profile changes as the game goes on, I'm like, that is so cool. I gotta try this. I gotta play it. And it was really interesting. Like, I think at the start of the game, my Harry, like, just based on the way I answered questions, was a bit more slimy and kinda douchey, and by the end of the game, because I wasn't going for, like, a specific ending, it was just, "I'm gonna answer these honestly, I'm gonna answer Kaufman honestly, and I'm just gonna play the game, like, as I would play it, as I would experience this." He definitely was just, I guess, mellowed out more, and just kind of more of an average guy, and if I remember correctly, the endings I got were number 1, like, at the end of the video, he's talking to Cheryl. Is it Cheryl or Heather? I think it's Cheryl? Yeah, 'cause I think it's Heather in 3. But he's able to just talk to Cheryl and essentially say, "Things between me and your mom just did not work out, but don't for a moment ever think this was your fault or that we don't still love you." Like, for all the flaws that he may or may not have had, and all the issues he may or may not have had with her mother, he was a very good, loving father. And I don't exactly remember the ending I got with Cheryl. I didn't get the UFO ending. The UFO ending is great though. But it wasn't the like, my dad was a piece of shit, and it wasn't the like, oh no, like he's still coming for me. I think she was able to make peace with it to some degree, but I don't think I got that like golden ending where she goes outside and talks to her mom. I don't remember exactly what the game's final analysis of me was. I remember taking pictures of it as it happened. I was like, this is super interesting. I think overall there were some parts where I'm like, that's a pretty accurate assessment of me. Some of it was like, that's not quite there, but I can see how you would get that, but I don't think you're right. I will go ahead and put the game in B. I think this is a very solid B tier game because as much as I love that, like, this is the stuff I respect, the game wasn't super fun to play. Like, I don't think the chase sequences were particularly fun. Just having to actually play it like with the Wiimote, it was really, really jank. I think there were several points where Clay and I were talking about. I was like, this is a great experience. Is it a great game? But it's a great experience, and like I'm glad I got to like play it. And I'm not just watching. It's the kind of game where I feel like you should play it yourself, and so the game can analyze you rather than watching the game analyze someone else. But I'm definitely glad I checked it out. Silent Hill F though. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm just seeing that the thumbnail like and unfortunately kind of cuts off Hinako's face, which is very fitting for the game and like the themes of the game and like how the monsters are often women like who don't have their faces anymore because they don't have any real identity and it's something that Hinako was afraid of. Uh the art direction is fantastic as I would expect from a Silent Hill game. The emphasis on action gameplay I really didn't care for, especially because there's a ding dang stamina meter, and I just don't like action games with stamina meters. I don't enjoy that as a mechanic. I don't think I ever will. I don't want attacking, blocking, and dodging to take the same resource. Early shout out to Stellar Blade for not doing any of it. The story, I think, is really interesting. The oh gosh, the endings, man. The default ending and just Hinako walking through that hallway as the dimensions of the hallway and the capsules in it are like getting to different sizes. I'm like, oh, it's so cool. It's like this really like trippy Alice in Wonderland, which feels like it's an oxymoron, not an oxymoron. It just yeah, that feels redundant to say trippy and Alice in Wonderland as if they're separate things. But I really liked that. My big problem with the game is how it handles New Game Plus. Because when I heard Ryukishi 7 Silent Hill, as someone who loves Higurashi, as someone who loves Umineko, I was hyped and I was stoked. And I feel like the story and the themes very much in line with Ryukishi 7 work. I still need to read Psychonia and actually read Higurashi. I've watched the show and it's one of my favorites. And Sea Cats, without love it cannot be seen that this is like the best story ever told. But thematically, I think it lives up to those. I think the quality of the story is really good as well. But it is a Ryukishi story. So you can kind of expect, okay, like time loops, multiple playthroughs, like, okay, so like New Game Plus, that's gonna be a big thing, and it is. But what works about Higgs and Sea Cats is every story, every playthrough, in a sense, is a different scenario. In this, it's not like Automata, where New Game Plus is essentially yes, but it's not. Like, you're playing something different because now it's like you're playing through the game, but from 9S's perspective with extra stuff, and it feels different. Then another New Game Plus. Oh, you're back to 2B. It's continuing the story. And now it's like, well, you're playing after that, either the 9S route or the A2 route. And it all kind of works together in that way. And it's really cool. As much as like I have a lot of problems with Automata from a gameplay perspective, but I do like the narrative quite a lot. Here, New Game Plus is the same game and the same story. And while there are some additional details in some of the cutscenes, I think at one point I looked at Clay and was like, this could have been an email because the changes aren't that drastic. Some of them are really subtle to the point where I didn't realize there was a difference. Or the difference was so small that I'm like, yeah, why wasn't that just in the other game? This didn't need to be this many playthroughs. I kind of feel like my time was wasted, which is never a fun thing, especially when I liked the game. Like, I wanted to love it, and there's a lot of parts about it that I do genuinely love. But that aspect, I think if the overall game was more fun to play, like if there wasn't as much of an emphasis on action, or at the very least, the action gameplay was more fun, I'd be a little more okay with it. But as is, I wanted the game to be up here. It's probably here. I think I would say I respect it more than I like it. I don't think so. I think I can put it up here because there are a lot of elements of the game because I do think the story is that good and that interesting. I'm like, I did love it and I did love the aesthetics. And there are parts of the gameplay and like the puzzle, really like the puzzles. I think I could put it here, but at the same time, like I probably liked Little Goody Two Shoes a little bit more overall. Because while that game had things that kind of frustrated me, I didn't feel like, man, the game was being cheeky in a way that wasted my time, you know? So I think I'm gonna call another audible. I don't want to say B plus, but I think it's more like an A minus. And I like that. That kind of feels accurate to me. All right. We're getting close. We've only got 5 games left. Oh boy. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm just gonna move them all to the middle of the screen. And let's see how quickly we can go through these. Donkey Kong is gonna be the fastest. So here's the thing. Number one, I'm just happy DK is back. I have a weird relationship with Donkey Kong and the fact that I haven't played a lot of Donkey Kong. I don't think I finished any of the original trilogy. Like I played some levels in DKC and DKC 2 and I'm like this is really fun, but it's more like I've kind of like played it with a buddy and then we just kind of never did it again. And I played a good chunk of DKC 64 and I just didn't really like it that much. Like, I think I got to Mad Jack, and after doing that fight, I was like, okay, I think I'm done. I played Returns, and it was great. I played Tropical Freeze, and it was great. I'm like, I love like the characters of DK, and I love the aesthetics, and I love the Kremlings, and I've liked what I've played. But there's been a rumor for the last few years that the Odyssey team is doing a DK game, and that sounds amazing. I can't wait for it. And here it was. with Donkey Kong Bonanza. And I had this idea that I was gonna play the game, and for the video, I was gonna do like a song parody of Battle Hymn of the Republic, but Donkey Kong flavored. Like, mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Kong. And like that was how it was gonna start. And instead of the glory, glory, hallelujah, it was just gonna be oh banana few times and like Donkey Kong it's on. And like that's so stupid and it makes me laugh. And like I can't wait to do that. And I dropped the game. I think the aesthetics are great. I was not big on DK's new design at first. Like when I saw it in Mario Kart, I was like, I don't know if I like this that much. And then I saw it in this game and just how expressive he is. Like, no, this works. This kind of rules. This might be better than old DK, honestly. And I love old DK, but this is fantastic. I like that I could just roll around and punch things. It's just really fun. It's honestly great stress relief. I think Pauline is precious and adorable. I like that this is just Wreck-It Ralph the game. I think the music is good. I think the transformations are super cursed in the best possible way. I love that K. Rool is back and his boss fight is just like phase on phase on phase, and the music is crazy and it's amazing. You're filthy monkey like he's Frieza, and I just don't love playing it because when I play it, I can never really get the camera right, and it feels like the camera is always kind of going everywhere, and half the time I can't really see DK, and it's frustrating. And I'm like, oh, I just got hit by something, and then I just kind of keep taking damage sometimes. This game has like no iframes, and I don't love that. And there's this one thing that really bothers me where like I keep thinking that because like when you hit a wall, you just grab it automatically. And in my brain, I'm like, okay, so I can do a thing where I like roll toward the wall because that's a big part of the jump, like jump, roll, jump kind of shit. But if I'm rolling and hit a wall, he doesn't grab it, he just bounces off the wall. And I'm like, every time I think he's gonna grab it because that just feels right, but it's not what happens. And that bothers me. And there's enough of those little elements that bother me that make me not play the game. So by the end, like it was going to be here because I was playing it during my second trip and I was having enough fun with it, but wasn't loving it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna play Stellar Blade. And when I'm done with Stellar Blade, I will pick DK back up. And then when I finally did, I ran into those same problems again and went, yeah, I don't think this is for me. I've played enough of the game, like maybe like about, I don't know, quarter of it, a third, halfway through. Like I have the zebra form, like that's where I'm at. Like I've played a decent chunk, and I've also watched a lot of the later parts of the game and like kind of played them, like passing the sticks. Like I have vicariously experienced a lot of the end game to where I feel like I got everything I needed out of it. So I think I'm good. Where do I even put Pokemon? Hold up. I'm almost done with this water. Oh boy. Here's the thing with Z. I love playing Pokemon. And as such, I will always default and be in bias of enjoying a Pokemon game and a Pokemon experience. That being said, I don't like I don't like that the game is entirely contained within one location, and that one location, Lumio City, is pretty freaking boring. It's not like, man, every district like has its own personality and like its own vibe, and they feel really different. It's just like, hey, here's more of the city with like more cafes and stuff. And that's like, okay, I guess, but that's it. Like, where is that sense of adventure and exploration? Like, I can explore the roof, and that's some things. Like, hey, I found a larvitar. I found an alpha larvitar on someone's roof. Hell yeah! But aside from that, like, well, yeah. And then when you find something cool, you can barely mark it on your map because you can only have one pin at a time. And it's like, oh, did you accidentally put a pin somewhere else? Well, you just lost that other one. Hope it wasn't something really important, like where you found Larvitar, where you found Eevee. Wild zones are like kind of fun, but I would rather, I don't know, something like Arceus, where just here's an area, go explore and find Pokemon. Because that's how Pokemon should work. Like the game is really claustrophobic, and I don't think Pokemon should be. The battle royale, I don't think is particularly fun. I don't like the real time combat because I just find it to very often be super jank. And like, I don't like what it does to special attackers because special moves feel so freaking slow. The story's fine. I think the actual writing is fun. I like a lot of the characters. I like Team MZ. I like, I don't know how to pronounce most of these names. Like Corbo, I think is really fun. Jacinthe is super fun. I like this stuff, and this is a game that added a lot of megas, and I like Mega Evolution. I like a lot of these mega forms, but it also added no new Pokemon, no new like straight up evolutions, or like here's a Colossian form of a Pokemon. It's just like, hey, here's Clefable with some wings and a beret. I'm like, I like that, but I would have liked some, I guess, like new stuff too. Because like Galar did this with Gmax forms, but it also gave me like new Pokemon. Plus, some Pokemon just got new forms, and some of those got completely new evolutions, like whatever the hell Runerigus is. This thing is weird, and it's awesome. Like, can we get stuff like that too, please? No? Okay. And so, I don't know where to put this. Like, the part of me that's like, I just like Pokemon, and I will always enjoy playing Pokemon games. Like, yeah, well, maybe around here. And then there's the part of me that had to play it. It was like, yeah, I didn't like the combat or the claustrophobic nature of it, but I really like Pokemon, so here, you know, these are gonna go in D tier, but I can't. That almost feels right. But I had genuine fun catching Pokemon because that's always something I will think is fun. I'm not neutral on the game, but I don't know if I'm more negative. I guess that's the thing. I'm like, I'm very positive and very negative at the same time. So they almost balance out into a C tier. I'm like, do I want to give it a B because I like Pokemon? No, it feels too kind. A B minus, maybe a C plus, C minus. Hmm. We're gonna vibe check that. We're gonna call an audible. Let's see. Do I like C minus here? That feels kind of right, actually. Like, I feel a little more negative than positive. I think D tier is too negative because of how much fun I genuinely had. But I think this feels a bit more accurate. And since I'm not going to use this, can I just delete this row? Yeah. Okay. I think so. I think that's it. I think that's it. So now we have these three. I could probably spend an hour talking about Trails in the Sky. How long was my video on this game? Because I know I made one. I gotta know, how long did I spend talking about Trails in the Sky the first? Because I probably did spend an hour plus talking about it. Here's what I am gonna do while I am looking this up. I think the game is really, really, really good. And a non-zero amount of that is my own bias because Trails in the Sky is one of my favorite games of all time. I said earlier, Trails in the Sky second chapter is like in my top 3 to 4 favorite games ever. It was 54 minutes and 29 seconds I spent talking about this. And I believe a couple years ago, when I just talked about the original game, it was like an hour or 45 minutes, probably somewhere in that range. I think on average, my Trails videos are like an hour, 15 minutes. And then Kuro 3 was 3 hours of Venom because I despise that game, and I still kind of do. But to my point, Trails in the Sky the First, I think, is a really good remake. I think it is faithful to the original story. I think there's a lot of changes made to the gameplay to update it for modern audiences, but still keep the core identity of the gameplay intact. Like, I love that it's the OG Orbiment system. I really, really like and miss that system. The action gameplay, I think, like, it's a good way to make it feel a bit more modern, and you can kind of blow through enemies pretty quick as well. But it's still pretty fun. Some of the changes to the script, because it, from my understanding, is it's a translation that's more faithful to the original script, which is good. And I think the story still works and like still got me super emotional. I still freaking cried at the ending. Cause yickety yikes. But I think there are moments where some of the charm and personality of the version I originally played or lost, particularly with Estelle. She's still a good character, but just some of those like Estelle bright moments are just now like, what? And I'm like, that's significantly less fun and less endearing and just like less unique. Okay, this it's fine. But the rest of it is just that good. And like the music is still great. And some of the ways I could like break the game were incredible. Because like looking at the end game, like the fight with Luve was brutal. Like this shit was hard. I beat it on my first try, but it took everything I had. And then a few hours later, when I'm fighting the Reverie robot, he got like 4 turns and did nothing with them. Because Luve was the last actual challenge. And then, oh gosh, dude, the fight against like Kurt and the Bracers, because of some of the ways they changed the game, it was insanely hard. I hated that so much. Like I am now looking forward to dealing with rage boosting and gank fights in SC. I just realized how insane the Ren Potter Modder fight is going to be. I I really don't want to play it on Nightmare. I'm gonna go as far as I can. But I don't want to do SC on Nightmare, man. I might not make it past Kurt. I'm just gonna hear by my arts and be like, I'm no, I did this already. I'm not doing this again. Easily one of my favorite games this year. Also, one of my favorite games I played this year. I Imma be honest. Like, can I be real a second for just a millisecond? Put down my guard and tell my people how I feel a second. I thought Stellar Blade was gonna be fine. I thought it was going to be a fun action game where I'm like, yeah, I'm playing as a really attractive character and like that's neat and it's just near automata light and that's neat, but it's going to be fun. And I'm going to fight some cool things and I'll have a pretty good time. And by the time I finished my first playthrough, you were there. I basically did every side quest that did not involve fishing because I did not enjoy the fishing. I did every other side quest. I got the true ending of the game. I had so much fun playing it. I'd already fought like a good chunk of the bosses in boss rush mode already. It's like I'm playing the game on normal because I tried it on hard. I'm like, I'm dying in 2 hits. I can't do this shit. But on these boss refights, I'm fighting them on hard. And like some of these are really, really hard, but I'm learning them. I'm getting better. We're doing this. I'm making progress. Then I started a new game plus because I thought the game was just that fun. I kind of wanted to play it again. I didn't finish New Game Plus. I got to the Great Desert and called it good. I was having a lot of fun with it still. And just the fact that there was new stuff to do was really cool. And I'd gotten the Nikkei DLC, so I was doing that. And it's like, I've never played this game, and now I kind of get to play it in a way. And this is kind of neat and kind of fun. Like, so fighting Raven in the base game, fighting her on normal, I was like, this fight's cool. This is probably the best fight in the game. Because I think the final bosses are all like okay. Like this is the best fight in the game. She's fun. She's like difficult, like reasonably difficult, but nothing too crazy. Cool. Then I was fighting her on hard mode in the boss refights, and I just couldn't. I could not get past her. She just kept kicking my ass. And I was getting a little better at it. I was getting better at understanding her patterns and understanding like this is when I need to block. These are my habits that are getting me killed. Let me unlearn them. And then I started doing New Game Plus. And I started getting more skills and better equipment. And Raven was still really difficult, but she was getting more and more manageable. And then I did the Nikkei DLC, which means I was able to fight Scarlet. And I beat Scarlet on normal. I'm like, this was not that bad. I know that like Man is the super boss because you can't fight him in boss mode until you've beaten the game. Him on normal is it's doable. It's difficult, but it's doable. Scarlet on normal was around that same level of difficulty. But now I've got this really sick fit. And I'm gonna wear this and go fight Raven. Okay, now it's time for tacky mode. Let me do this. What the hell? I just did like a really cool move, and now Raven's health is like gone. Okay, I'm really glad I did New Game Plus and did the DK DLC. Let's go. And then, like I beat like I think it was like I don't know if it was my first attempt on Raven after beating Scarlet, but I almost think it was. If not, it was very quickly after I got her. She was down. She was done. Now it was time to beat Scarlet on hard. Raven on hard was done. I didn't even bother with the final bosses. Like, I don't really want to do this. I tried Man, and I genuinely feel like I could beat him if I really wanted to, but I was ready to be done. I just wanted to beat Scarlet on hard. That took a while. Not as long as Raven. I think a lot of that was because I had a lot of New Game Plus shit. But it didn't take as long as Raven, but I did it. And it was so like difficult and frustrating, but it was so fun. And that's how I can describe this game. Fun. I loved playing Stellar Blade. I thought I would like it. I thought I would like it enough. I couldn't put it down. I was shocked at just how much I loved it, and part of me was like, this might just be recency bias because this is how I ended the year. Because a lot of my December was playing this ding dang game. It was like, this might be my favorite game of the year. This might be my game of the year. I don't think it is, but it makes an argument for it. And part of me was also like, I don't think it was just recency bias. I think it's the game was just that fun. Because what do you know? I really like playing an action game where I don't have a stamina meter. Also, after playing this, which was a game that I played and just didn't think was fun, having a game that I couldn't put down, not because it gave me dopamine hits with Pokemon or because it interacted with my ADD, but because, holy shit, this is awesome, was just nice. And after that, we get to my game of the year because, look, man, Metaphor is phenomenal. I am a JRPG guy. Like, I like platformers. Just two. I like action games that don't have stamina meters, and I guess I like puzzle boxes too, and like my visual novels. I'm a JRPG guy at heart. This, I think, is genuinely one of the best JRPGs I have ever played. It has a phenomenal story, a phenomenal cast, where I think in both gameplay and story, there is no weak link in the party, which is not something I can think of very often. The aesthetics are great, the music is great. I think the themes of the game are really good and really resonated in 2025 and resonate in 2026 as well so far. I can't say it's perfect because I do feel like there's kind of moments here and there. Like for one example is the fact that why is Dracodeo so like a weapon for Hulkenberg? Like I get it, like it's a halberd, but like it's literally Yufa's like heirloom. Yufa should be using this weapon. Like, come on, like you could have made it something that Yufa could use. I'm just saying. And I'm not crazy about the ending. It's mostly just the pacing of the ending, I think, is a little wonky. Basically, everything else I think is perfect. And for me to be able to say, within my favorite genre of game, this is one of the single best I have ever played, really says a lot. This is a remake of a game that I love. Same with this. And this is something that was incredibly fun for like a month. So was this. This was basically my May, was playing through Metaphor. I am so glad I played it. I don't know if we're getting a ReFantazio 2, but I will be ready to make sure that fantasy lives on if it happens. Can't recommend it enough. So, with all of that being said, here is my tier list of games for 2025, including the Dio Will Smith and Snoop Dogg tier. Oh, okay. This was what? This was like 2 hours? Yeah, this is about 2 hours, which kind of what I expected. I wanted to start with to me, I figured games and movies are gonna be the 2 big ones. I wanted to start with one of those. Probably tomorrow, I might try to knock out the other 2, which would be reading because I didn't read a whole lot this year, or I guess last year, and shows, because shows is basically Gundam and then maybe a few other things I watched. From September onwards, aside from Haha You Clowns, I didn't like really watch anything. I just didn't do a lot in that. like time period. But honestly, I think a big part of it was I was playing this. Later, I played this. Like I played a lot of games, watched a lot of movies, and did a lot of book stuff, like my book. Didn't really watch a lot of shows, and I haven't really started watching anything this year either. So that should be relatively short. Hopefully, I can knock both of those out tomorrow. But games is done. Tier lists are in progress. Have a good rest of your night or day, like whenever you watch this.